All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling a really cool molecular puzzle that's at the very heart of how our bodies get energy. It's all about the stereochemistry of sugars. And you're about to find out why, in biochemistry, shape is literally everything.
So here's the big mystery we're going to solve. How is it possible that two sugars with the exact same chemical formula, C6H12O6, can act completely differently inside our cells? Think about it. Same atoms, same count. But our bodies, they can only use one of them for fuel. So what gives? Well, the secret isn't in the formula. It's all about their 3D shape.
Okay, so to crack this case, we've got to zoom way in. We're looking for a very specific clue on these molecules. The whole secret boils down to something called a chiral carbon, and this is the key to what we call molecular handedness.
So what on earth is a chiral carbon? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's just a carbon atom that's attached to four totally different things. The best way to think about it is, well, look at your hands, right? They've got the same parts, a thumb, fingers, a palm, but they're mirror images of each other. Try to lay your left hand perfectly on top of your right. You can't do it. They don't superimpose. That's exactly what a chiral carbon does to a molecule. It gives it this handedness. Now, to keep all this straight, scientists needed a standard, a reference point. You can think of it like the Rosetta Stone for sugars. And that molecule is glyceraldehyde. It's the simplest sugar you can get that actually has one of these chiral carbons. Basically, every other sugar out there gets its classification by being compared back to this one little molecule.
So, glyceraldehyde itself comes in two versions, these mirror image forms we call enantiomers. And the rule is super straightforward. If that little hydroxyl group, the OH, on the chiral carbon, is pointing to the right, we call it D-glyceraldehyde. And if it's pointing to the left, you guessed it, L-glyceraldehyde. That's it. This simple D for right, L for left rule is the foundation for naming pretty much all the sugars. Okay, pay attention, because this next part is where a ton of people get tripped up. We just talked about D and L, right? That describes the structure of the molecule. But then you've also got these plus and minus signs you hear about. These are not the same thing. They're two totally separate systems measuring two totally different properties.
So let's break it down. The DL label is all about the structure. It's a blueprint. For a big sugar, you just look at the chiral carbon that's second to last. We call it the penultimate carbon, and see where its OH group is. Right for D, left for L. Simple. The plus-minus sign, though, that's about behavior. It's something you have to measure in a lab. It tells you what the molecule does to a beam of polarized light. Does it rotate it to the right, which we call Dextrorotatory, or does it rotate it to the left, Levorotatory? Remember, DL is structure, plus-minus is behavior. And this is the key takeaway, right from the source material. You can absolutely have a sugar with a D structure that rotates light to the left, so it would be D negative, or you could have an L structure that rotates light to the right, making it L positive. The two things are completely independent of each other.
And if you need proof, here's the classic example that just blows that whole misconception out of the water. D-fructose. If you look at its structure, it's a D sugar, no question. But when you actually test it in the lab, it rotates polarized light to the left. It's Levorotatory, so its full name is D-fructose. This is the ultimate proof that D absolutely does not stand for Dextrorotatory.
Okay, so one chiral carbon gives you two versions, right? A left and a right. But what happens with a bigger molecule, like glucose, that has multiple chiral carbons? Well, my friends, that is when things get really interesting. The diversity just explodes.
And there's actually a super elegant little formula to figure this out. The number of possible versions, or stereoisomers, is just 2 to the power of n, where n is simply the number of chiral carbons you have. That's because every time you add another chiral carbon, you basically double the number of possibilities. So, let's try it with glucose. Glucose has 4 of these chiral carbons. So, 2 to the power of 4, that's 16. Yep, 16. There are 16 possible stereoisomers of glucose, all with the same formula, but each with its own unique three-dimensional shape. And this right here is why we have such a mind-boggling variety of sugars in nature.
Now, even inside that big family of 16 isomers, you can find even closer relatives. Let's look at pairs of sugars that are almost identical. I'm talking they only differ in the 3D arrangement around one single carbon atom. These special pairs have a name. We call them Epimers. Check out these examples. You've got glucose and mannose. They're like twins, except for one tiny detail, the direction of the OH group at the second carbon. So, we call them C2 epimers. Then there's glucose and galactose. Same deal, but the difference is at the fourth carbon. They're C4 epimers. Now, this might seem like a really minor change, but biologically, it's a huge deal. It means our body needs completely different enzymes to handle them.
And that leads us right to the big question. The so what of all this? Why do we care? Why does any of this matter? Left, right, a single flip of a group? Well, it's because in the world of biology, shape is everything. Think of the enzymes in your body as super-specific locks, and a sugar is the key. Only a key with the perfect 3D shape is going to fit and turn that lock. And our entire metabolic system is built to recognize the D sugars. They're the right keys. The L sugars, they're mirror images, they're the wrong key. They just don't fit. So they can't get into our cells properly, we can't use them for energy, and in fact, if they build up, they can even cause problems.
And this is a fundamental rule of life. Our cellular machinery is specifically designed to handle the D series of sugars. It really is as simple as trying to shove your right hand into a left-handed glove. It just won't work. This idea, the stereospecificity, is one of the absolute core principles of biochemistry.
All right, so to pull all this together, here's a fantastic little mnemonic to lock these ideas in your brain. Just remember this: D/L equals structure, plus/ equals rotation, and epi, well, that means one carbon apart. If you can remember that, you've got the key to understanding the whole world of sugar stereochemistry.
And that leaves us with a pretty profound final thought, doesn't it? We've just seen how a simple mirror image can make the difference between essential fuel for our bodies and, well, a useless piece of molecular junk. It really makes you stop and think. What else in biology comes down to just shape alone? From the way our medicines work to our very sense of smell, how much of life is just a story told in 3 dimensions?